Welcome back, viewers, to the latest researches and breaking news from two separate fronts today. A drone strike has reportedly hit in Dieta Woreda near Mekelle, with Tigrayan sources and Ethiopian National Defense Force sources giving two completely different statements of what was actually targeted, and in East Gojam zone. Fano forces claim a major offensive against Ethiopian National Defense Force positions near Mount Chok, resulting in heavy casualties, captured weapons, and a disturbing allegation involving the treatment of fallen fighters. Let's go through both reports in full detail. Viewers, a drone strike carried out by Abiy Ahmed's federal government has reportedly hit in Dieta Woreda near Mekelle. According to Tigrayan sources, the drone strike hit a civilian area. According to Ethiopian National Defense Force sources, the airstrike targeted weapons depots belonging to Tigray People's Liberation Front forces. Viewers, firstly understand that Dieta is a district and a historic former province located in the southeastern zone of the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia. The regional capital city of Mekelle is surrounded as an enclave within the Dieta district. Right away, we're looking at two completely conflicting accounts of the same strike, one side saying civilians were hit, the other saying it was a legitimate military target. This kind of contradiction is extremely common after airstrikes in active conflict zones, because both sides have a strong incentive to shape how the strike is perceived. One to draw sympathy and international criticism, the other to justify the strike as a lawful military action. Independent, on-the-ground verification is really the only way to know for certain what was actually hit, and that kind of verification often takes time to emerge, if it emerges at all. According to reports from Ethiopian National Defense Force sources, a drone strike reportedly hit the Kedamai-Weyan area of Dieta district around 3:30 a.m. today, targeting heavy equipment and ammunition. Reports say the equipment was destroyed and troops at the site were also hit. A 3:30 a.m. strike suggests this was likely a planned, intelligence-driven operation rather than a rapid response to an unfolding battlefield situation. Nighttime strikes on fixed sites like equipment depots are typically carried out when surveillance has already confirmed a target's location in advance. Dieta district sits in the immediate vicinity of Mekelle, the capital of Tigray, meaning this strike occurred very close to the region's main population and administrative center, which is part of why the question of whether it hit a civilian area or a military depot carries so much weight. Neither the Tigray government nor the Ethiopian federal government has commented on this new airstrike, as military tensions between the two sides continue to escalate. Silence from both sides at this stage isn't unusual immediately. After a strike like this, governments and parties often wait until initial assessments are complete before issuing an official position, especially when the strike's target and impact are already being disputed. We'll be watching for any official statement and we'll update you as soon as one is issued. According to the latest reports, a Fano offensive in Bibun Woreda, located in East Gojam zone, Amhara region, has reportedly caused significant Ethiopian National Defense Force casualties and led to the capture of a large cache of weapons. Reportedly, on August 17th, Fano units under the 54th Division launched an offensive against Ethiopian National Defense Force positions in Weba near the Mount Chok Ridge, triggering several hours of intense fighting involving heavy machine gun fire and close quarters combat. East Gojam zone is located in the southern part of Amhara region, notably further south than the Reya Kobo and North Wollo areas we've been focusing on in recent videos. Mount Shok is one of the highest mountain ranges in this part of Ethiopia, and its ridgelines are known for rugged, defensible terrain. An offensive here shows that fighting isn't confined to the northern corridor alone. Fano is actively engaging Ethiopian National Defense Force positions much further south as well, indicating a much broader geographic spread to this conflict than the Raya Kobo front we've focused on so far. Close quarters combat specifically means fighting at very short range. Often within the same position or building, this is typically far more intense and higher risk for both sides than long-range engagements, and usually indicates that Fano forces pushed directly into or very near an Ethiopian National Defense Force position rather than engaging from a distance. A fortified position breached reportedly. After breaching one of the Ethiopian National Defense Force's fortified positions, Fano forces compelled Ethiopian National Defense Force troops to withdraw in another direction, while sporadic gunfire continued for several more hours. Ethiopian National Defense Force casualties were described as substantial, and Fano forces captured a significant quantity of firearms, ammunition, and other military supplies. Breaching a fortified position is generally considered one of the more difficult tasks in this kind of warfare. Fortified positions are, by definition, built and stocked specifically to be defended, so successfully breaking through one and forcing a withdrawal rather than simply repelling an attack would represent a meaningful tactical success if these reports hold up. The capture of a large quantity of supplies afterward would also directly reinforce Fano's own capacity for future operations in this area. According to the reports, during the engagement, 4 Fano fighters were killed, and Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers subsequently mutilated their bodies and prevented their burial. This is a serious allegation, and one we want to be very careful and precise about. If accurate, the mutilation of fallen fighters and the deliberate prevention of burial would be a violation of the basic laws of armed conflict, which require the humane treatment of the dead on all sides, regardless of which side they fought for. At the same time, we have to stress that this claim currently comes solely from Fano's own account of the engagement and has not been independently verified. Allegations like this are unfortunately common in intense, close quarters fighting between opposing forces, and they tend to deepen hostility and reduce the likelihood of restraint in future engagements on both sides, which is exactly why independent verification matters so much before drawing firm conclusions. So today we're tracking 2 very different but equally serious developments. A disputed drone strike near Mekelle, with Tigrayan and Ethiopian National Defense Force sources giving conflicting accounts of what was actually hit, and a significant Fano offensive far to the south in East Gojam zone near Mount Shok that reportedly breached a fortified Ethiopian National Defense Force position, but also came with a serious unverified allegation regarding the treatment of fallen fighters. As always, we're presenting these reports with the context and caution they require, and we'll keep updating you as more verified information becomes available. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next update.